Olive oil is supposed to be the healthiest fat in your kitchen, the oil you drizzle on salads, cook with daily, and trust to protect your heart. But there is a real chance the bottle you are using right now is not what it claims to be. Independent testing suggests that up to 70% of extra virgin olive oils sold in the US fail to meet their own label standards. That means millions of people are paying premium prices for oil that is stale, diluted, or misrepresented while believing they are making a healthy choice. Today, we expose 10 olive oil brands you should avoid at all costs. And the final brand is one almost everyone trusts. Number 10, Pompeian extra virgin olive oil. Walk into almost any grocery store in America and you'll see it. That familiar green bottle with the classic label. Pompeian has been a kitchen staple for over a century, marketed as pure, authentic, and trusted by generations. It feels like a safe choice, the kind of olive oil your grandmother probably used, but here's where the story starts to crack. Despite its legacy branding, Pompeian has faced repeated criticism for inconsistent quality and questionable freshness. The problem begins with sourcing. Pompeian blends oils from multiple countries, often combining batches from Spain, Tunisia, Greece, and other regions. While blending itself isn't illegal, it creates a traceability nightmare. You have no idea when those olives were harvested, how long the oil sat in storage, or whether each batch actually meets extra virgin standards. Independent taste panels have noted that certain Pompeian products lack the peppery bite and fruity aroma that define true extra virgin oil. Instead, some batches taste flat, greasy, or even slightly rancid. That's a telltale sign of oxidation, which happens when oil is exposed to heat, light, or oxygen over extended periods. And oxidized oil doesn't just taste bad, it loses the polyphenols and antioxidants that make olive oil healthy in the first place. The truth is, Pompeian's affordable price point comes at a cost. When you're paying less, you're often getting oil that's older, more processed, and far from what the label promises. If freshness and authenticity matter to you, this iconic brand might not deserve its spot in your pantry. But this is just the warm-up. The next brand looks premium, sounds authentic, and still fails where it matters most. Number 9. Filippo Berio Extra Virgin Olive Oil. Filippo Berio. The name alone sounds like it belongs in a Tuscan villa. With its elegant labeling and Italian heritage branding, this oil practically whispers authenticity. It's positioned as a step above the budget options, a refined choice for home cooks who care about quality. But once you dig past the marketing, the picture gets far less appetizing. Filippo Berio has appeared in multiple laboratory analyses where samples were flagged for failing to meet extra virgin benchmarks. The issues range from elevated peroxide values, which indicate oxidation, to sensory defects detected by trained tasting panels. In the world of olive oil, those defects matter. True extra virgin oil must be free from flaws like rancidity, mustiness, or winey fermentation. When panelists detect those notes, the oil should be downgraded. Yet, bottles with the extra virgin label keep reaching store shelves. Part of the problem is the supply chain. Filippo Berio sources olives from multiple Mediterranean countries and processes them at various facilities. That extended journey from grove to bottle increases the risk of degradation. Heat during transport, improper storage, and long shelf times all chip away at quality. By the time you open that bottle at home, the oil inside may have already lost much of its nutritional value and flavor integrity. What makes this frustrating is the price. Filippo Berio often costs more than generic store brands, leading consumers to believe they're getting something superior. But premium packaging doesn't guarantee premium oil. You could be drizzling degraded fat on your salad while thinking you made a smart, healthy choice. If Filippo Berio has disappointed you with flat flavor or a greasy mouthfeel, now you know why. And if you think this is bad, wait until you hear about the next brand. It's one of the biggest names in the business, and the problems run even deeper. Number 8, Colavita Extra Virgin Olive Oil. Colavita is everywhere. From grocery aisles to restaurant kitchens, this brand has built a reputation as the reliable Italian import. The packaging looks authentic, the price feels reasonable, and for years, home cooks have trusted it as their go-to extra virgin olive oil. But trust and truth aren't always the same thing. Colavita has faced scrutiny in independent testing, with some products failing to meet the chemical and sensory standards required for extra virgin classification. One notable study conducted by researchers at the University of California, Davis found that several major imported brands, including Colavita, did not pass the benchmarks when tested at the point of purchase. The failures included elevated free fatty acid levels, signs of oxidation, and sensory defects that disqualify oil from the extra virgin category. The root cause is familiar. Like many large-scale importers, Colavita sources oil from vast networks of suppliers across the Mediterranean. That means inconsistent harvest dates, variable storage conditions, and a long gap between production and consumption. Olive oil is not like wine. It does not improve with age. The moment those olives are pressed, the clock starts ticking. Every month in a warehouse, every week on a shipping container, every day under fluorescent store lighting chips away at freshness. And freshness isn't just about flavor, it's about health. The polyphenols and antioxidants that give olive oil its celebrated benefits degrade over time. So even if Colavita started as genuine extra virgin oil somewhere in Italy, by the time it reaches your kitchen, it may no longer deliver what the label promises. You're essentially paying for a product that has already begun breaking down before you even twist off the cap. Colavita might look like a quality choice, but looks can deceive. And speaking of deception, the next brand on our list has been at the center of international investigations. This one might shock you. Number 7. Bertolli Extra Virgin Olive Oil. If there's one olive oil brand that almost everyone recognizes, it's Bertolli. For decades, it has dominated supermarket shelves with sleek bottles, Italian imagery, and the promise of Mediterranean tradition. Bertolli feels like the safe, familiar choice. The brand your parents used, the name you grab without thinking. But behind that trusted label lies one of the most troubled reputations in the entire olive oil industry. Bertolli has been cited repeatedly in international investigations and consumer reports questioning the authenticity of its extra virgin claims. The University of California Davis study that rocked the olive oil world found that Bertolli samples failed to meet extra virgin standards in a significant number of cases. The problems included oxidation, sensory defects, and chemical markers suggesting the oil had degraded or been improperly stored long before reaching consumers. But it goes beyond lab tests. Bertolli's parent companies have faced legal action in multiple countries. In one high-profile case, Italian authorities seized thousands of tons of oil suspected of being falsely labeled as extra virgin when it was actually lower-grade refined oil mixed with small amounts of virgin oil to mask the taste. While the company denied wrongdoing, the pattern of scrutiny has followed Bertolli across continents and raised serious questions about their quality control practices at every level of production. The reality is that Bertolli operates on a massive global scale. That kind of volume demands enormous supply chains, long storage periods, and blending from countless sources. Quality control becomes nearly impossible when you're moving that much product, and the consumer pays the price, literally and nutritionally. When you buy Bertolli, you're gambling. Maybe you get a decent batch. Maybe you get oil that's been sitting in a warehouse for a year. That's not a risk worth taking when your health is on the line. And believe it or not, we're not even halfway through this list. The next brand is one you might already have in your pantry right now. If you're learning something new here, hit subscribe and keep these eye-opening breakdowns coming. Number 6. Pompeian Robust Extra Virgin Olive Oil. You might be wondering why Pompeian is appearing twice on this list. Fair question. The answer is simple. Their robust extra virgin line deserves its own spot because it carries a different set of problems and arguably a bigger deception. Pompeian markets this variety as bold, intense, and crafted for those who want a more flavorful experience. The word robust suggests premium quality, it implies careful selection and superior olives. But in reality, robust is not a regulated term. It's a marketing word designed to make you feel like you're getting something special. And what you're actually getting is often a blend from multiple countries with no clear traceability. The fundamental issue with Pompeian Robust is the same one plaguing the entire mass-market olive oil industry. When oil is blended from sources across Spain, Tunisia, Argentina, and elsewhere, freshness becomes impossible to guarantee. Each origin has different harvest times, different storage practices, and different quality controls. Mixing them together might create a consistent flavor profile, but it also buries any chance of knowing what you're really consuming. You lose all connection to the source, the harvest, and the actual quality of each individual oil. Independent reviewers have noted that Pompeian Robust often lacks the peppery, slightly bitter finish that characterizes truly fresh, high polyphenol extra virgin oil. Instead, it tends toward a flat, generic oiliness. That's a red flag. When olive oil doesn't have that throat-catching bite, it's usually because the beneficial compounds have broken down. So while the bottle screams bold and flavorful, the contents often whisper stale and diluted. Don't let clever labeling fool you into thinking robust means better. In this case, it just means more marketing. And if misleading labels frustrate you, the next brand will really get under your skin. It failed lab tests and still ended up on your store shelf. Number 5, Carapelli Extra Virgin Olive Oil. Carapelli has been around since 1893, making it one of the oldest olive oil brands in existence. With over a century of history and roots in Tuscany, it carries an air of authenticity that few competitors can match. The branding leans heavily into that heritage, with imagery of rolling Italian hills and promises of traditional craftsmanship. But age doesn't guarantee honesty, and a long history doesn't mean the product still lives up to its legacy. Carapelli has been flagged in U.S. laboratory testing for failing to meet extra virgin standards. Samples analyzed by the UC Davis Olive Center showed chemical and sensory issues that should have disqualified the oil from carrying the extra virgin label. Elevated UV absorption values suggested the presence of refined oil, while trained taste panels detected defects inconsistent with true extra virgin quality. These aren't minor technicalities. They're indicators that the oil in the bottle isn't what it claims to be. Part of the problem is scale. Carapelli, now owned by the multinational giant Deoleo, operates at industrial volumes. That means sourcing from vast supplier networks, storing oil for extended periods, and prioritizing consistency over freshness. When you're producing millions of liters, the small batch, artisan approach goes out the window, and with it goes the quality that once defined Italian olive oil. What's particularly frustrating is the price point. Carapelli often sits in the mid to upper tier of supermarket options, leading consumers to believe they're paying for something genuinely superior. Instead, they may be getting oxidized, degraded oil dressed up in a prestigious label. If you've been loyal to Carapelli because of its storied past, it might be time to reconsider. Tradition means nothing if the product no longer lives up to it. And if you think history and prestige protect you, the next brand proves how wrong that assumption can be. Number 4, Lucini Extra Virgin. Lucini has built a reputation as the sophisticated choice for discerning home cooks. With sleek packaging, higher price points, and a focus on Italian sourcing, it positions itself as a cut above the mass market brands. For years, food bloggers and culinary enthusiasts have recommended Lucini as a trustworthy option. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Not all Lucini products are created equal, and even a polished image can crack under pressure. While some Lucini lines have performed reasonably well in testing, others have raised concerns around oxidation and storage degradation. The issue isn't necessarily what happens at the mill. It's what happens afterward. Olive oil is incredibly sensitive to heat, light, and time. Even oil that starts as genuine extra virgin can degrade significantly during transport and storage. And when products sit in distribution centers or on store shelves for months, quality suffers. The challenge with Lucini is inconsistency. One bottle might deliver the grassy, peppery notes you expect from quality extra virgin oil. The next bottle from the same line might taste flat, musty, or slightly off. That variability makes it hard to trust the brand, even if you've had good experiences in the past. You never quite know which version you're going to get until you've already paid and brought it home. Another factor is transparency. While Lucini emphasizes its Italian origins, specific harvest dates and estate information aren't always easy to find on every product. Without that data, You have no way of knowing how old the oil actually is. And in the olive oil world, freshness is everything. An oil pressed 6 months ago is dramatically different from one pressed 2 years ago. Lucini might still have some solid offerings, but the inconsistency across lines makes it a gamble. When you're paying premium prices, you deserve guaranteed quality, not a coin flip. And if you still believe higher prices mean higher quality, the next brand will quietly destroy that belief. Number 3. Star Extra Virgin Olive Oil. Star Olive Oil has been a fixture in American kitchens for generations. It's affordable, widely available, and often the first brand people grab when they're not sure what else to choose. With its bright yellow label and familiar look, Star feels like a dependable everyday option, but dependable isn't the same as good. Star has appeared in multiple reports questioning whether its products consistently meet extra virgin standards. The UC Davis Olive Center study, which tested numerous imported brands, found that Star samples exhibited issues including oxidation and sensory defects. Trained panelists detected off flavors that should automatically disqualify oil from the extra virgin category. Yet, those bottles remained on store shelves, labeled as something they weren't. The problem with Star is systemic. Like other large importers, the company sources oil from multiple countries and blends batches to achieve a uniform product. That approach prioritizes consistency over quality. It means the oil you buy today tastes roughly the same as the oil you bought last year, but it also means you're never getting truly fresh, truly exceptional, extra virgin oil. And then there's the storage factor. Star products often sit in warehouses and on retail shelves for extended periods before being purchased. Every week that passes accelerates degradation. By the time you crack open that bottle at home, the polyphenols and antioxidants that make olive oil healthy may have diminished significantly. Star might work in a pinch, but it's not doing your health or your cooking any favors. If you've ever wondered why your olive oil doesn't taste like the real thing you had on vacation in Greece or Italy, now you know. But we're not done yet. But the next one cuts even deeper because it comes from a store people trust to do the checking for them. Number 2. Whole Foods 365 The Extra Virgin Olive Oil. Whole Foods has built its entire brand around the promise of quality. Walk into any location and you're surrounded by organic labels, clean ingredients, and the assurance that someone has vetted these products for you. So it's natural to assume that their private label 365 Everyday Value Extra Virgin Olive Oil meets the same high standards. Unfortunately, that assumption doesn't hold up under scrutiny. The 365 Extra Virgin Olive Oil has shown mixed results in independent testing, particularly around freshness and harvest timing. Some samples have exhibited signs of oxidation and sensory defects that suggest the oil was past its prime before it even reached the shelf. For a store that prides itself on premium sourcing, that's a significant letdown. Part of the issue is the private label model itself. When retailers create store brand products, they typically contract with third-party suppliers who produce oil under the store's name. That creates distance between the retailer and the actual production process. Whole Foods may set certain standards, but they're not controlling every step from grove to bottle. And in the olive oil industry, that gap leaves room for quality to slip. Another concern is price positioning. The 365 line is designed to offer value, which means keeping costs down. In the olive oil world, lower costs usually translate to older oil, longer supply chains, and less rigorous quality control. You might save a few dollars at checkout, but you could be sacrificing the health benefits and flavor you thought you were paying for. The Whole Foods name carries weight, but it doesn't guarantee perfection. When it comes to olive oil, even trusted retailers can miss the mark. And that brings us to number 1 on our list. This final entry isn't a single brand. It's an entire category of oils that you've probably bought dozens of times without realizing the risk. Number 1. Store brand extra virgin olive oils. Here's the hard truth. If you've been buying generic store brand extra virgin olive oil from your local supermarket, there's a very good chance you've never actually tasted real extra virgin oil. These private label products, sold under names like Kirkland, Great Value, Market Pantry, and countless others, represent some of the most inconsistent and questionable olive oils on the market. The business model is simple. Retailers want to offer olive oil at competitive prices, so they source from the cheapest suppliers available. That usually means blended oils from multiple countries, often including Spain, Tunisia, Turkey, Greece, and others mixed together into one bottle. The blending masks individual quality issues and creates a generic product that tastes roughly the same every time. But that uniformity comes at a steep cost. These oils frequently sit in storage for months or even years before reaching your kitchen. Olive oil doesn't age gracefully. Unlike wine, it deteriorates from the moment it's pressed. Extended storage means oxidation, loss of polyphenols, and degradation of the very compounds that make olive oil beneficial for your heart, brain, and overall health. Independent testing has consistently shown that store-brand extra virgin oils have some of the highest failure rates when measured against international standards. Sensory panels detect rancidity, mustiness, and other defects. Chemical tests reveal elevated free fatty acids and peroxide values. Yet these products continue to carry the extra virgin label because enforcement is weak and consumer awareness is low. The worst part is the false sense of security. You see extra virgin on the label and assume you're making a healthy choice. But what's actually inside might be stale, adulterated, or mislabeled oil that delivers none of the benefits you're seeking. Store-brand olive oil isn't a bargain. It's a gamble with your health. And now that you know the truth, it's time to discover which brands actually deserve your trust. Stay with us because we're about to reveal olive oils that deliver on their promises. Real quality, real freshness, and real flavor.